Hello, everybody, and welcome to an episode of the Athlete Diaries. I'm here today with a basketball player, our first basketball player on the podcast. I'm excited about it. We're finally starting to get more people outside of football, and that's what really has me excited. He has been in a few different places. He's a great friend of mine. We grew up together. He jokingly, but also seriously, he's the kind of guy that you would want to date your sister. You feel me? He's a great dude. He's very smart, very intelligent. We're going to learn a lot from him today. So, Jordan Buchanan.
How y'all doing?
How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Can't complain.
Finally done with school?
Finally done with school, man. It's been a long time coming. So, it's been a long 5 years. So.
What'd you get your degree in?
Sports management. Like every other athlete.
Right.
Like every other athlete.
See, but people make that joke. But I tell people, if you truly take sport management seriously, bro,
you can make some bread, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Really
you can have a career
in
that, dude. Like, I know a dude, you know what I'm saying, from middle of nowhere, Kentucky. He graduated with me, and he's already working down at NASCAR at Daytona. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, down in Daytona, living right now.
I was about to say, especially, like, just for that.
You know?
For NASCAR to be graduated, and then if you go right into it
you feel me?
For the summertime.
And the crazy thing is, it's a black dude too.
Oh man!
Come on, bro.
No, that's
like
tough.
it's crazy. It's
That's
crazy.
tough.
So yeah,
tough.
People rag on sport management, but there's money in it. There's money in
a
it.
lot. Especially because you get the sports management side of it, you get that side, but you also you gotta take business classes too.
Yeah, exactly. So you learn how to do both. Yeah, exactly. So let's get into it. You've been on here before. That was on Zoom. That doesn't count. Any podcast that I recorded on Zoom on Scratch, and that's why we hadn't released any, because I'm not counting any of those. We're going to do them. They're better in person. I feel like you get more genuine in person, and I'm not giving in to the whole Zoom call thing that we're doing, so I'm not getting into it. But yeah, so we're going to do this again. So if we could, can you kind of get your story, how you got into basketball growing up, and then we'll get into college and stuff like that. But like, how'd you get into basketball and all that stuff?
Honestly, like a lot of people are like, "Oh, I picked up a ball at 4 years old, 5 years old." I can't remember when I started playing. I think it was maybe like legitimately like 7, 8, because I was into skateboarding before that. So
yeah, I believe that.
So got into basketball at a younger age, I guess. Started out in Tennessee. That's where I was originally born at, Columbia, Tennessee, 931. Then moved up to Kentucky when I was going into the third grade. And kind of just started playing basketball at the local rec centers, Warren County Parks.
Okay, yeah.
And just fell in love with it then. Used to play all the time. And B can attest to this, all the time on Ridge Pond's blacktop at recess. And that's kind of where it started, double rims, chain nets. So just fell in love with it then. And then middle school, played for Drakes Creek Middle School. Then South Warren was built my 8th grade year, would have been your 7th grade year. And played there, then on through high school. High school was a little bit rough. It was a different journey, of course.
Why was it rough?
So my freshman year, I came like right off the bench. I was kind of like 6-man, type of deal.
I remember that.
So 6-man off the bench, or not 6-man, but first person off the bench, 6-man, kind of role on the team as a freshman. And I'm like, I'm here, kind of deal. And the sophomore year comes around. And didn't really touch the floor, and it was
a new coach, wasn't it?
No, it was the same coach. Same coach. So ended up coming off the bench again, but it was like freshman year I'm 6-man, and then sophomore year I'm like 12. I'm down at the bench.
Yeah, it's crazy. What was the reason?
I would ask him, and he would never give me like a straightforward answer.
Yeah.
And so I think, that kind of, it did. It messed with my mental. And kind of, like, why is this happening? Kind of fell in and out of love with the game But it was a blessing in disguise. Same thing happened junior year, and then senior year came around, and like my mentality totally changed. Yeah, I was like, all right, like, and we had a new coach coming in as well. So it just kind of came in with the mentality of like, I'm just gonna put all my eggs in one basket. I'm just gonna work my tail off. And I think that's where, I'm not gonna say that I have like an insane Kobe work ethic, but I think I have a pretty good work ethic.
No, you have a great work ethic. I remember. So I gave this example when we did the first one. But I'm gonna give it again. His work ethic is crazy. I'll give you an example. When I was going to be a junior, so it was spring, sophomore year, you were going to be your senior year. Mm-hmm. We started having football in the mornings. We would have walkthroughs and we were going over plays or whatever. And there was one day we get in there. I don't even remember. Cam, you remember what time we were meeting, bro? I don't remember. It was early though, and it was you. We get in there and you were in there already, hooping, putting up shots, putting in work before school. Like you were in there before we were, and we were mad because we were up that early. So I only can imagine how much earlier you were up. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, did you get in trouble for that too?
Oh yeah, that was a situation.
Our coaches went to snitch it on you.
Yeah. So like, I would essentially the night, cause I would always work out after practice or after school, and so I would always put, if you know South Warren, there's like the double pane windows that are like adjacent with the parking lot. So I would always put like a bottle cap in the door, so where I know like the door is unlocked, but it looks from the outside looking in, it looks like the door is like closed, and obviously you would think that it's locked. Yeah. And so I would do that, and I would just come in early mornings. Like I would probably wake up 4:35 and try to get a workout in before, because school started at 7:30. Yep. It'll give me time to take a shower and all that in the locker room. So I would try to do that pretty consistently my senior year.
And this so this is in high school. Yeah, I want to make this very clear. Like this is a work ethic in high school.
Yeah, this is in high school. And so I think that like kind of setting that up kind of propelled me forward. Just like being used to it or being hungry for more, I guess. And that's what I was saying earlier. Like it was a blessing in disguise, because even though I was counted out multiple times, still. I mean, to this day, but it's like I have that as my foundation. Like I can go off of that. So, like I said, it's a blessing in disguise, and that's not only for basketball, but also, eventually you're going to be getting into the business world. So just having that work ethic is very important. Exactly, very important.
So going into college, you weren't heavily recruited or anything. It was. It was like you ended up going to prep school.
Yeah, went to Mount Zion Christian Academy. Shout out to my Bull City boys in North Carolina, Durham, North Carolina. So did that for it wasn't even a year though. Like people think like prep school is like a whole school year, but it was like the post grad program. So the way the post grad program works is we started like September 1st. So it's almost like on a college schedule, but then like we ended the season. And once the season was over, like we came home, and that was in like beginning of March. Okay. So we really didn't even have like a full like even college.
Right, but you were taking classes and stuff.
Mm-hmm. We took like, let's see, we had a Bible class. We had like 3 classes, like a Bible class,
so it was a Christian prep school.
Yeah. Okay. So we had a Bible class, a college readiness class, and then we also had like an SAT prep class. Yeah. Okay. Because most of the time for prep school, either you're under recruited and you need to bump up your recruitment, or your
grades weren't good,
test scores aren't good enough, so you have to go that route. Went to prep school, and then came back home. Still didn't have any recruitment.
Yeah. But you balled out. You were balling at prep school.
I did, but like not really. Yeah. Like I was around a whole bunch. Like I was around a lot of other dogs too. In the same sense. Like that got me a lot better, opened my eyes up. I was in like they call it like the sandbox effect, or the playground effect. Like if you're only in this playground for so long, like you're gonna get used to it and move forward. But going to Durham and North Carolina basketball is it's totally different. And then we had dudes from like my roommate was from Harlem, New York. And then we had dudes, my boy Noah, who we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
He's from Cali, LA boy. And then we had dudes from Canada.
Okay.
From Nigeria. Yeah. So, I mean, you're getting to see totally different styles of basketball in one place under one roof. So that was a blessing. That opened up my eyes a lot. But, I mean, going back to how I was playing okay, but it could have been a lot better.
For sure.
But I learned a lot. Like, my work ethic elevated even more there.
It was because of the people you were around had crazy work ethic?
Absolutely. Like, we got dudes now. My boy Dre, Keandre Cook. He was in the G League during COVID.
Okay.
So got to play with somebody who was like eventually playing in the league. And then also he's playing right now over in Hungary, I think. Either Hungary or Germany. But I mean, he's playing at a high level of basketball.
For sure.
Getting paid to do that. So, like I said, man, just different perspective. And then, like I said, recruitment wasn't as good coming out, so I came back home. And the crazy part is, I was about to quit.
Yeah. Quit basketball.
Quit basketball. And ended up.
What made you not quit?
Going to BAC one day. Was playing pickup in there, just kind of like leisurely.
Yeah.
And I played well during the game, and there was a guy that I was playing against, and he was like, "Where do you go to school?" I was like, I just got out of prep school. I don't know what the next steps are. I was super discouraged during this time, one of the lowest times of my life. And he was like, "Nah, like, you're not done. Like, we got to get you working out again.
Yeah.
Get you some tryouts." So I had a couple of tryouts, and so
like he put you on, or
he put me on. So he used to coach for a coach named Todd Franklin, who is now at Vincennes University.
Okay,
blue collar program, like really really good, top 10 program probably every single year in the JUCO standings, and so he got me a tryout up there. We met each other in April. He got me a tryout in December, so I would have been coming in mid-year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shell-shocked. Like, I was nervous, all this, and it didn't go well.
Why?
It's just nervous, man. Like, just nerves going everywhere. But, like, from April to December.
No, I mean, like, what makes you say, like, I get, like, you're nervous, but, like, what makes you say it didn't go, like, you didn't... You know what I'm saying? Like, you've been produced. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what like...
I couldn't throw the ball into the ocean that day.
Yeah. I got you. Okay.
And it's just like they were just a different level of athletes. I don't think I had ever really seen that collectively as a group, and, like, a group, individuals, like, moving as one.
Yeah.
It's like it's a college program, so it's different. So just seeing that was totally different. So ended up not doing well at that tryout. I had another opportunity to try out for him again later on the next year, or the next semester, and didn't even end up doing it. It was like, I just want to just continue to work.
You didn't do the tryout?
Didn't do the tryout.
You felt too discouraged, or you just were...
Just kind of overthinking it as well.
Okay.
So I was like, I just want to put in more work. Just put in more work.
Do you regret that, or how you feel about it now? Looking at it now, how you feel?
I don't really regret it, because I think everything's kind of worked out the way it's supposed to work out. But at the same time, you know, you never know until you know, kind of deal. So I'm not gonna say I totally regret it, but parts of me are like, dang, like, I wonder how different it could have been. Yeah, especially if I would have been in the right, like, mental state, going into it the right way.
I mean, especially because now you know the speed and the tempo they're coming with. You would have been.
It's totally different now.
Yeah.
So just understanding that, and then so going into the next off season, I ended up signing with Volunteer State.
Yeah.
Down in Gallatin near Nashville, so close to home. Had 2 solid years there. Definitely JUCO experience is different. And also I need to shout out my guy Jacob Davis at D1 Sports. he helped me out tremendously, like with my athleticism from when I got back from prep school until even now. We still work out together, so that's my guy. But yeah, just JUCO was different. You get to meet a lot of long or lifelong friends, and that was a good experience. Yeah. And then we end up heading off to Kentucky Christian up in Grayson, Kentucky, middle of nowhere. So ended up doing that, and yeah, it's over with now. So had some pretty good games up in Grayson at KCU. Could have been a little bit better, of course, but it worked out how it needed to work out.
For sure.
But yeah, it's kind of the basketball career. As of right now, it's still continuing. So
what are you getting into now? I know. So just so everyone knows, we are releasing On the Bubble for Vinny soon. But Jordan, we agreed to something with him. So he's about to get his own On the Bubble documentary produced by us. So make sure you check that out. But so my question is, so just so you guys kind of pretense to the documentary, what are you getting into these next few months, going into like your next step?
So we got obviously going to be trying to sign as far as with the agency and with the agent first, then getting a contract, and then in between those times, just putting in work. Also got a showcase coming up that we'll be going to, just another opportunity to just showcase my talents and try to sell myself to these overseas teams. So that's pretty much it. I mean, it's just work at this point.
Yeah.
Understanding it and the way I'm gonna be carrying myself as well, in a professional mindset.
Right.
So that's the biggest thing.
Right. Exactly.
At this point. So, and also just trusting my work, and then trusting in what God has for me as well. So that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing right now. So.
For sure. Great. Fantastic. Well, I'm excited to do this documentary with you. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be a great outlook. I think people are going to enjoy it. I think they're going to see a different side of an athlete who has great talents, overlooked, didn't go to big schools, but still trying to go to the league. And I feel like a lot of times those kind of athletes kind of like, you know what I'm saying? People don't really get to see that side of the story of the game. I think it's going to be exciting.
I think too, it's important to understand that everybody has their own journeys,
right?
Of course, and not to say that everybody's the same, because we're not all the same. But understanding too, like I put my shoes on the exact same way anybody else puts their shoes on.
Right.
The top guy in the league versus the low man on the totem pole, or that kid that thinks that they can't do this or can't do that. You're always right next to the best step.
Right.
And I think sometimes, I'm guilty of it too, like just getting discouraged and kind of overlooking ourselves at times as well.
Can you explain right next to the best step, so just so people can get it?
It's basically like your next move. Even if your next move is you can't see it, or you're kind of timid with it, it's like you're gonna have to make that move. You don't want to take steps backwards, of course.
Ever.
So you're gonna have to make the next move, even if it, like I said, even if it's not the best move, but it's gonna propel you forward to the next move, and then it's just a domino effect from there. So I think if we look at our next move from that standpoint, then we'll always try to be confident in it, and then we'll always be moving towards something.
Right.
And never getting satisfied with anything as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's big, along with anybody's journey.
Well, one question that we always ask on here, and something that's going to lead us to our next kind of segue in this, is I asked the question, and you kind of already talked about a situation a little bit. So I'm curious on if there's a different situation or if we're just going to expand on that one, because I'm okay with either. But kind of, what is one of the hardest situations or times in your life, like things that you've been through, and what did you do, and how did you, you know what I'm saying, the conversations you've had, the whatever it is that got you out of it. Maybe it was somebody, maybe it was, you know what I'm saying, reading something, whatever it might have been. Like, what, like, I'm just curious about that situation or any situation like that.
I would say for me, it's been the constant battle of resetting.
Right. So what do you mean by resetting?
So go to prep school, and then that's only for a few months. And then we got to reset and try to find another school. Yeah. And then JUCO. I didn't go to a 4-year school, so it's not like I could just say, like, oh, I'm committed here for the next 4 years. Yeah. It's a 2-year school, which is tough because you always want to be in that. You want to be in the right place, right? Right. So at the same time, understanding, like I said, you got another step that you got to take. So after this 2-year school, I got to try to get to a 4-year school for the next 2 years. And then after even like now, I'm resetting and I'm having to navigate through this professional realm. And it's a little bit uncomfortable, but also understanding that I'm built for this. Like, I've done this already. Yeah, I've been here before 3 times already. So just being confident in my work and everything else going forward. Like I said, I mean, my faith is huge as well. So that's number one, like just keeping God first and trusting His word and wrapping my head and infusing myself in that daily. And just also just keeping the right people around me. I think that's a big thing that I've learned over the years is just, you know, the crowd that you're around is kind of going to tell you, like, what your future is like. Yeah, for sure. And it's very important that, you know, we take that seriously. So I think learning that and also with that as well, just being, like, around good energy. Right. Like, I don't want to be around yes men all the time.
No, most definitely not. You can't grow like that.
No, you can't at all. So just constantly growing and looking for that growth, whether that be uncomfortable situations or even comfortable situations. So I think though the biggest thing, which is huge for me, is my relationship with God, of course, but my dad. Like he's really instrumental, and anybody that knows my dad, like, he doesn't talk a lot at all. He doesn't say too much, but he also moves in a way where he speaks to me. I can see the way he moves. I can see how he processes things. And it's just, he's a living example of what, even though he's not a professional basketball player, but the business and how he promotes himself and just carries himself, it says a lot to me, and it makes me, like, that's my hero. Like, that's what I want to be like one day. So even through these times of resetting, it's like, hey, like, I have the blueprint, and it's right there. So I just got to trust that.
So you would say, so this is a conversation I've had with my strength coach on here, and it's about learning how to work when you're uncomfortable. Yeah. And you would say resetting taught you how to learn, or taught you how to work when you were uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like it's hard to, you're not born with that. Comfortability is something that everyone is striving for, but comfortability creates averageness. You know what I'm saying? You can't learn to form greatness and comfortability. It doesn't happen. Great men, great women, great humans are not formed to comfortability. You know what I'm saying?
I think, like, that time of being uncomfortable is going to throw you in the fire. Like, a diamond, before it's a diamond, like, it has to be cut, it has to be pressed, like, it has to go through this whole process, and if it never goes through that process, then it never becomes a diamond. Right. So I think understanding that, it kind of, like, even in the resetting phase right now, it makes me hungrier. Yeah. Because it's like, all right, like, I'm resetting again, and even though, like, people don't say it, and it might even be an unhealthy thing for me, but I'm like, all right, like people are counting me out again. Like,
yeah.
I gotta do this, I gotta do that, and I gotta not even prove them wrong because it's not about them, but just proving myself right. Like I'm on this journey for a reason. I've been on this journey this long for a reason, and I don't think God would still have this burning desire put into me
for no reason.
If it wasn't supposed to be happening. So
for sure,
understanding that like God has put this in me, and people have invested in me, their time, their money, all these things, and I can't let that go to waste either. I have to take that seriously. So
for sure,
that means a lot to me.
For sure. And another thing I kind of want to expand on was your comment of your circle is the most important. The people around you. So like the people in your circle. Why would you? You know what I'm saying? So what made you really say that? Like what about them was so vital to you, or you know what I'm saying? Like what about them was so important that it kept you tapped in on what you were doing?
So I'm gonna say this first. I have two kinds of circles.
Okay.
I have a circle that I talk to on the daily.
Yeah.
Right. And then I have another circle that I watch on the daily.
Yeah.
Or that I see the way they move.
Okay.
The circle that I talk to on the daily, that's the positive energy. Both sets they're positive energy, of course. But it's and even with both parties, it's the way that they're moving. Like that's what attracts me to them, and then hopefully I'm making sure that I'm reciprocating the energy as well. So, and just being around people for so long, like I don't think my friend group has really wavered at the core. Like there's probably, I think I got, and everyone's always like, oh, you only need a handful of friends.
Yeah.
But I think I honestly have, and this is a blessing, like a good 20 people that I could depend on. Like I could call up and be like, hey, I need help with this, or just encouragement in this area or that area. For sure. And that's big because not everybody wants to put their hand out and, pull the next person up all the time. Sure. And I think that's a big thing too. Like I'm around selfless people. And I'd like to think of myself as that as well. So, but just understanding that it's not always going to be comfortable either, being around those people. And I think that's another thing that attracts me to them as well, because like I said, I don't have yes men around me. Like,
for sure.
They're going to shoot it straight.
That's important.
It is. It's important. Extremely important. So just understanding that, it's helped me create my circle. Like I said, there's two types of circles. So the people that I talk to on the daily, and then the people that I watch on the daily, but I might not talk to them for a long time. Like even like you guys, like I don't talk to you guys on the daily, but like there's a mutual understanding that if any of us need anything,
for sure,
like we're there for each other. So it's like, and it's crazy because like even with Brandon, like Brandon was my first friend that I formed when I came to Bowling Green. I walked into Miss Lara Lim's classroom. I walked into her classroom, and me and B like clicked off. And it's like, like we don't talk on the daily. We might talk 2 times a year. Right. But it's like there's this mutual understanding, and like whenever we see each other, like it's love. Like, we're brothers. So there's that understanding. So
for sure. For sure. So let's talk about. I don't know. What do you want to get into? What wisdom can you share with us? See, this is the thing about not doing pre-screening questions.
No, it's a beautiful part.
You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And you get this one. You might have some, but you can cut them. You know what I'm saying? You cut the little breaks in them, where you don't really. Or if they're really long, you just both kind of sitting there. But I feel like it's most definitely more genuine and authentic.
No,
you
it
don't
is.
do like a pre.
It's in a lot of different realms. It's the creativity that gets flowing in the room, because you gotta kind of think of stuff on the spot.
Exactly.
And I think that makes, like, you keep on using the word authenticity, but it makes it that. I think that's the beautiful thing about just like the human mind, kind of as well. Like, you can just think of something and it appear.
Facts,
in a way.
And that's why I think that's why I get so frustrated with how many people are sheeps nowadays. But you know what I'm saying? Because you are literally like put on this planet to be creators. Like I forget the story in the Bible where Buddy was supposed to have a baby. Like God wanted him to have a baby and he didn't do it, and God like cursed him because he didn't create the baby. You know what I'm talking about? I know you know a story. You know what I'm saying?
There's numerous stories like that in the Bible, though. Like,
well, you're supposed to be a creator and you don't create. Like, you're literally on this planet to create, and people nowadays don't create. They just follow.
I think the craziest thing is people don't see that. Like, they just think that I'm supposed to be sitting here and not doing this or not doing that. It's like, we're all gods too. I don't think people really like understand that. Like,
I made in His image.
Exactly.
I made in His image.
In His image and His likeness. So
that's why I hate the saying you have a God complex. Damn right, I have a God complex. I know what I'm here
no,
for.
For sure.
I was put here for His image. I have a God complex.
And I think that another important thing too is understanding that we're all supposed to move in that manner. Like, yes, like you have reverence and you have respect for God, but at the same time, like, I'm not, one of my homies always says, he's like, I'm not Jesus, but I'm moving like him.
Right. Oh yeah, I like that. I'm still that one.
Because you just think about like how Jesus moved throughout his 33 years on this earth. It was blameless. Yeah. They tried to blame him or point the finger here, point the finger there. But like, he knew what he was doing and he was moving in his purpose constantly. Yes. And so I think to say that, like, if we are moving in our purpose, we don't really have to worry about anything because like it's all gonna be taken care of at the end of the day. Exactly. Exactly. So we always have these labels of like life has to be like this, or even I have to be a professional athlete, or I have to be a big time entertainer. And it's like it's the incremental stuff as well. So like, to whom much is given, much is required, but also we have to be faithful with the mustard seed of faith that we have. You know what I'm saying? So it's that understanding that, like I said, purpose is big because you don't really have to worry about anything after that. You just, I always use the analogy of you set up what you need to set up. So we got this podcast right here. We got this going, and then like we leave the door cracked open, and like we let God walk in, and like something amazing is bound to happen. Yeah, right. I'm with you. Yeah. So understanding that and being confident in that, and being confident in what God has going on in our lives, you're unstoppable at that point. For sure, unstoppable.
For sure. It's the premise of it's the premise of waking up, and it's like no matter what I'm going through today, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep being me. I'm gonna keep smiling. I'm gonna keep doing this because I know I'm gonna come here tonight, put my head on this pillow, and it's even if it's not a pillow, like if you on your knuckles, you know what I'm saying? Because we've been there. You know what I'm saying? You sleep on a couch, sleep on the floor, wherever you're sleeping. It's the premise of like, this is not it for me. No, or, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, if we go back to you talking about, you know what I'm saying, resetting, or you being at the prep school, or you going to JUCO, it was the understanding of this is not it for me. Mm-hmm. God's plan for me, my purpose. I understand God's purpose, so I'm gonna embrace the struggle that I'm going through now.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And to that point, it's like we can even imagine, even if you are sleeping on the ground, on the gravel. Yeah. Imagine it as a pillow in a big mansion or manifesting. Yeah, manifesting. Like, that's huge as well.
It's part of creating. That's part of being a creator.
No,
it's creating it in your head before it's there.
I heard Steve Harvey say the other day. He said, God wouldn't put an image into our head if it wasn't supposed to happen. Essentially, he was saying you never see the preview. You never go to the movies. And if you get there in time for the previews, you never see the preview of a movie and then it not come out. Yeah. The preview is the coming attraction. Yeah. Of life, of the movie, whatever it is, because our lives are movies. Right. So just understanding that, like I keep on saying, like everything that's gonna happen is gonna happen the way it needs to happen. But we also have control and the free will of like, hey, like my mind can go here. I can create this. I can create that. But first, there has to be a vision, and then you write it out on a plan, and then you work the plan.
Right.
One of my homies also says, pray, plan, execute.
Period.
You pray on it first. Obviously, like I said, you write it out, write it down, and then from there, it's just work. Like,
work.
It's gonna happen how you need it to, or how you want it to. So, and even during the execution phase, it's not gonna be pretty.
Yeah.
During the planning phase, it's not gonna be pretty. But just understand that if you chip away daily,
at it every day,
you're eventually gonna have some sort of breakthrough. And I think that's the moment I'm in right now.
Yeah.
A lot of us are in is just understanding that if I stop chipping away at it, then the tree's not gonna fall.
Not gonna fall.
And like I might be, like I was talking about the steps earlier, like it might be that next step that is the breakthrough, but if you're too scared to take it or you're not willing to
keep going past it,
you know what I'm saying?
You have no idea.
You're never gonna get there. Yeah, you're never gonna get there. So
for sure.
I think that's also a point that we need to understand as well, is like we practice every day. We do something every single day for so long, like eventually it's gonna happen. Like what the result that you want is gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes we get so caught up in the time period of like,
I want it in,
I gotta have it in this specific window, or this 5-year plan, or this 10-year plan. Is like, no, like
that's not how it works.
You think about all the great entrepreneurs or all the great entertainers of the world, it'd be like they start their career like 30 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, what were you doing from 18 to 30 for those 12 years? It's like, oh, I was living in a car or flipping burgers, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing.
But just understanding that like there's this process that we have to go through. And we can't rush it.
Right.
It's God's timing, it's God's plan. And it's like, all right, if you would have got it, let's say I did end up going D1.
Yeah.
Well, who's to say that I don't like flunk out or something like that? Because I don't have the discipline that I've developed over these last 5 years, 5-6 years.
Sure.
So like even that, understanding your journey and your process, and that everything is gonna happen for you when it's supposed to happen for you.
Right.
Some people might be blessed with this before you, or they might have a shortcoming, but even in a blessing and a shortcoming, like something's gonna propel you forward if you look at it the right way and attack it in the right manner as well. So
for sure, I agree with you. Damn.